If you love drawing portraits, I've got something exciting to share with you. I recently made a pack of 100 brushes and resources that make it super easy to add dreamy details and effects to your portraits. It's called the Portrait Power Pack, and in this video, I want to show you 6 creative ways you can level up your own portraits using these brushes and stamps. And I'll start off with adding some skin textures. So I'll go over to my Portrait Essentials. So this is 15 brushes, so all the brushes that you'll need to add dreamy details. I have the Charly Inker and Smooth Sketcher. These are the two that I use the most for my sketching. I've got the Charly Outline, and this is what I use to get that really crisp outline for all of my characters. And I'm going to use the Dusty Blush now to add some rosy cheeks. So I'm just going to hold that down and get a darker colour. I might bring that a little bit darker even. I'll create a new layer on top and then just going to drag that across like this, and I'll just zoom in so you can see that texture a bit more. So what I'm going to do is create a clipping mask for my character's face. So I'm just going to click on that layer, go to clipping mask, and now when I draw, it's going to be confined to that shape below. And that's why it's really important to create your illustrations on separate layers. So I just want to add a little bit of blush on both sides. And then I'm going to just bring the opacity down a little bit to soften that. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to create another layer on top and do the same, so create a clipping mask, and I'm going to go in with a little bit of a darker shade here, go over to my freckles, and I'm just going to layer this up. So this is how I'm going to start to add some really nice textures to her face. So I'm just going to slowly bring that over, and I can just keep layering on top to add more. And of course, this is looking a little bit dark. So again, I just go over to the opacity, so the end here, and just bring that down to make it look a little bit more natural. And if I zoom out, you'll start to notice that she's got some really cute textures on there. So I'm just going to bring that down a little bit more to just make it more subtle. And I have my first brushes used. So the second thing I want to do is add some nice textures to her hair. Just go over to this layer, create a new layer, again add clipping mask, and I'm just going to find a darker shade for this character's hair. So go for this kind of creamy grey. So I'll go over to the textured details brush, and this is what I use for all of my details. I'll create a new layer above, and I'm just going to really gently kind of follow that hairline and just start to add some fun details within her hair. And this is pressure sensitive, so if I lean quite heavy, it's going to come up quite thick, and if I lean quite lightly, it's going to tail off like that. And this is how I get some really natural looking line work in my characters. And then again, I always play around with the opacity just to soften that so it's not too obvious. Okay, so I have that created. So because this brush bundle comes with lots of different accessories to play around with, I'm going to start to play around with her eyebrows. So I'll go to the eyebrow stamps, and I've got lots of different styles of eyebrows to choose from. Maybe I'll try this straight rounded. I'll pick the same colour as her hair, create a new layer on top. I'm just going to stamp that over. And this is a really quick way for you to get those eyebrows down rather than having to draw them over and over again for each of your characters. So I'll duplicate that. Go up to the arrow here, flip horizontal, and just bring that over to the other side. I'm just going to zoom out and see if I like that style of eyebrow. So I'm not a big fan of this eyebrow for this character. So what I'm going to do is just going to merge those and delete. And I have so many other eyebrows to choose from. So maybe I could try maybe a softer eyebrow. Angled soft could be quite nice. Let's try that. So just tap, and then I can just move that up and reposition it. And I feel like these eyebrows are just a little bit softer for her face. I'm just going to duplicate, go to the arrow and flip horizontal and drag that over to the other side. And you can always play around with the size as well here. All right, so that was really quick. So the next thing I want to do is merge those down just to save some layers, create a new layer, and we're now going to add some glasses. I have a lot of different styles of glasses to choose from. So I'm thinking of maybe going for these rimless round, and we'll see what that looks like. I'm going to pick a color from my illustration. Maybe I could go for this purple. Making sure I'm on a new layer, I'm just going to tap. So I can see that this purple is not that obvious. So it might not be contrasting enough with her skin. Let's see, I can always change the color. Maybe I could go for a green. So I'm just going to pick that green and drag that over to my sunglasses, or maybe I could try an orange as well. And the orange does seem quite fun, and I really love how that's matching the outfit. But like I said, you can play around with all of these different styles to see what suits your characters the most. Let's see what she looks like with some earrings. I'll go down to accessories. You have lots of different accessories to choose from here. I love playing around with these in the background as well, and I'm going to show you a few little tricks to fill your background so everything is tied together a little bit more. So I am going to maybe go for these abstract dangle earrings and see what this looks like. Again, I'm going to pick a color from my illustration. I'll go for a green to see if I can balance that out. I'll create a new layer and I'll just tap and reposition it to see what those look like. And this looks really fun. I'm going to duplicate that again and bring that over to the other side. Just move that up a bit. I think the green works well. So this is a really quick way for you to add accessories to your characters as well, just so your characters aren't all looking the same. All right, the next thing I'm going to do now is start to fill in some of these gaps with those accessories as well. So I have a chunky diamond here and also a chunky star. So this is almost like a night sky. So I want to start adding some of those stamps in there. I'll create a new layer on top and I'm just going to pull in some of those colors again. So I'm going to go for the chunky star, and at the moment that's really big, so I'm just going to bring that star down to quite small and start to tap where I see those gaps. So the last thing that I want to do is add a really cool texture to these mushrooms. So in this power pack, I also have 20 groovy gradients for you to choose from. And you can start to add these into your illustrations as well. So I'll just show you what I mean. So I have, and I'll just click that off. I have this groovy gradient that I want to add to the shapes of those mushrooms. So what I'm going to do is find the layer with the mushrooms. I've added that gradient in on top of that, and then I'm going to click on clipping mask. And now, as you can see, I've got that groovy gradient added to my mushrooms, and this just adds a lot more visual interest to your characters. So those are all of my brushes and how to use them for your portraits. If you want to download my portrait power pack, you can find the link below, and I've put together a special discount for everyone who watches this video. And don't forget to tag me over on Instagram at Charly Clements so I can see your amazing work.